Famcast Media. Bitch.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
About my best friend, he's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end.
You're listening to Pigs Radio, broadcasting live from a secret location in Compton, California. The talk show that makes psychiatrists see other psychiatrists, other psychiatrists, other psychiatrists, other psychiatrists. other psychiatrists. You are now tuned into the longest reigning podcast in the Pigsneyverse.
Yes, sir.
Zack, what episode are we on?
453, good sir.
12 years, almost 13 years into it, and we are just going nonstop. We are on the road to episode 500. Zack,
No
are
breaks.
you excited?
Of course.
I'm excited.
I'm coming down off of high.
Oh yeah, how high are you? How's Zack? Like,
we've been pretty up there.
we have been pretty up there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been exciting. I think Zack's talking about off the high. We came off of an exciting weekend at the Mayan Theater with
Yes, sir.
Lucha Vavoom. We did some filming. We did some producing. We got 2 exciting nights out of L.A. And fuck, was L.A. hot both nights.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
It was exciting. All the wrestling, the burlesque, the titties were flopping all over the place.
There's shit flying.
There was shit flying. Dirty Sanchez was out there doing his thing.
Yeah.
We had Club Fun City at Mal's Bar on Saturday. The prior to that, we had that house party in Downey that was fucking just insane. A lot of work.
Not only that, my niece actually flew down and surprised the family. And she's going to college in Missouri, so she came down yesterday. I got to see her today.
And I will say that there's
exciting.
nothing more exciting than fucking family.
Yeah, bro.
I think as we're going to get into today's conversation, we're going to dwell on some things from the past. And as I've learned now that I've gotten older, nothing else matters other than family. So good job, Zack, on running, you know.
Hey.
Oh, I mean, good job to her for visiting you.
Yeah.
She from Puerto Rico or New York or what?
No, she's from here.
Oh. Okay.
She went to college.
Oh, where's all your Puerto Ricans? I don't ever hear you talk about your Puerto Rican family at all.
They got lost in the storm.
Oh, really? Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
For you.
A little bit.
I guess. All right. Well, that's.
I got a nice house to visit over there.
You do or don't have a nice house to visit over there?
Half of it.
Oh, was that what's left from the hurricane or
Yes.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, make sure you check out Zack Rabbit Lopez. Follow him down his rabbit hole.
Yes, sir.
He plays video games not really well. You can see him lose to all the 4-year-olds that are on there playing Modern Warfare 2. Are you on that right now?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, how's that?
It's pretty dope.
I thought there was like at least 1,000 of these versions of these fucking tracks, or I mean,
it's
games.
getting pretty close to FIFA and Madden with how many there are. Yeah, but I mean, this one felt good. You know?
Okay.
I played the beta and it felt like one of the old school ones from like 10 years ago. So I was like, all right, it's time to get back in and show these kids what the fuck's up, because they weren't around, you know. And just like that, I could say that I wasn't around for our guest tonight.
Oh, you're right, but before you do that, Zack, because you're skipping along, you're hopping
shit.
all over a place.
I see a black screen.
You're a Zack Rabbit, and that's what's happening. Ooh, the chat's already coming in, guys. The chats are coming in.
There we go.
We also have the incredible Liz Vampire Mermaid visiting via the internet with all her purple hair and blue curtain background.
Hi, honey.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome to Pigs, Liz.
What's up, guys?
She's super excited for today's conversation. I'm going to tell you guys
Yeah.
why. For anyone who loves house music, who loves the 90s, this episode is going to be all about that. Zack, I know you were kind of jumping all over the place. We have the director of this movie that's out right now called Welcome to the Club, the one and only Mike Flores. What's up, Mike Flores?
What is up, guys?
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, because I've heard through the grapevine, through everyone I've heard, how busy you are. So it's a pleasure to have you down here, man, for you to take time out of your busy day and just hang out with some fucking pigs, man.
It's all good, man.
Hey, man,
I
you're a
love
pig.
it.
You're a pig just like us.
I'm a pig, too.
Here on Pigs Radio, we do a little thing where we break the ice. So we know what your name is, but let's figure out. I know run a couple things on what you do, and normally you have to squeal for us, little piggy. So you either do your best pig's impression or a pig's call, pig squeal.
Oh, man.
Yeah, should have did your
Let's
homework.
see. How does the pig squeal again?
Squeal for us, piggy. Whee! Yeah, all right.
I almost did a donkey sound. But I said no.
I would have accepted all sounds, by the way. I would have took them all. Welcome to Pig Studios and Pigs Radio.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, and let's get to it. Yeah.
You brought some friends with you, man.
I did.
Let's see who's right next to you.
Right next to
Who's
me
this?
is the guy house parties in the '90s, Mr. Biggs.
What's up, Mr. Biggs?
What's up, sir? How you doing?
Good, brother. Good. Welcome to Pigs.
Thank you. It's an honor.
On top of house, I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce it because I've already been under the influence. Let's get that title right. What is it called again?
It's house parties in the 90s.
House Parties in the 90s.
Yes.
You guys can follow him all over the social medias, and you know what? I can't let you go because you're a pig now, man. So squeal for us, piggy.
Built like one, so I'm just gonna throw a big ass oink, oink. There you go.
Oh, you're not even trying.
Cowbell.
Mediocre cowbell, but I guess we'll take it.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
to
you,
the table, sir. Welcome to the table. And across the way, who do we have right here?
Across the way, we have from the movement in the early '90s of the smash hit Jump, Mr. Haze.
Peace.
Mr. Hayes,
Peace.
welcome, man.
Break dancer
Welcome.
phenomena.
Thank you for having me.
And obviously, you are now a pig, so you got to squeal for us, piggy.
Oh, I got to go too.
Yes, you do. Man, everybody.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
By the way, his eyes almost popped out. He looked like one of those like pigs when you like go squeeze like actual like that was awesome. Thank you guys for squealing. You are now official part of the Pigsniverse.
Yep.
You guys are now pigs. So tell us, Mike. I came across you by a good buddy of mine, Milo. He joined us together so we can kind of have a sit down and kind of talk about your project. But before we get to the project, man, tell me. In the beginning, when Mike Flores became Mike Flores, what were you doing? What were you into that even led you down this road? Because you did not just wake up one day to be like, I'm going to be a fucking director and direct this fucking movie. No, there was like decades. There was a lot of kind of things. I mean,
A lot of decades.
Yeah. I mean, tell me like what actually started you, whatever it is, creative movement that you may have, whatever sparked your interest to kind of get you going.
In film?
Whatever.
In whatever?
Yeah,
or
like
whatever
the beginning.
I did?
The beginning. Yeah, man.
Wow, the beginning. I mean, that's...
Take us down your journey.
I was...
Take it down your rabbit hole.
I was 13, 14 years old and born and raised in El Sereno. And I just being outside at home, playing around, listening to my neighbor's music coming out, blaring out of his yard. And little did I know, the DJ was setting up back there. And I got really interested at that moment, seeing a DJ with 2 turntables and a mixer and a loud sound system and thinking, wow, this guy's playing these old songs. Well, they're old now, but back then they were playing these 2 songs and I just got hooked on it. And those songs were Living on Video and Dr. Sex.
Ooh.
And from that point on, to this day you can still play them. But that's kind of like where I started to DJ and stuff like that. And I got the bug and, long story short, I just moved on I was DJing a bunch of house parties in East LA and got recognized pretty quick, moved up to the halls and stuff and clubs at a young age in downtown LA and Hollywood and stuff like that. And sometimes my parents would let me go, sometimes they wouldn't, Sometimes they'd be like, no, your ass is staying home. You're only 14.
Yeah.
Me who knows cholo.
Yeah. You're not going to Florentine Gardens at 14.
But I really love when artists or musicians and bands can pinpoint like the exact moment and song or what have you that like
turned them on.
Yeah, they just set everything off for them.
It was just, that's how Living on Video was. It was at that moment where it just crashes at the break. I was like, whoa.
This is it.
I want to be a DJ. I don't know what's going to happen or how, but that's what I want to do. And just like any other parent, we're like, you're crazy.
That's not good for you.
Yeah.
So did you have to convince them hard? I mean, to like let you get into that or?
I worked with my dad in the summertime a lot. Every summer I worked with my dad and just bullshit stuff. It'll, move this here and there and just to learn some responsibility. And one day we drove to downtown LA out of nowhere. We went into this electronic shop. It wasn't a Radio Shack or Fry's or anything like that. It was just a weird off the wall electronic.
If you've been to downtown LA, everything down there is weird. So yeah, you can walk into any store like, what the fuck is this? Okay, that's happening.
And we walked in there. My dad was like, "You want these turntables here?" And they had no pitch control. They were Panasonics, and I'm like, "Those are not the ones they really use." but he wasn't about to spend $1,000.
Right.
You know, so he bought me those 2 Panasonics with no pitch control and a Radio Shack mixer. And I dominated those 2 turntables for like a year with no pitch control. And when I got 1200s, that was it. That was it. And I just skyrocketed, man, from there. And little by little, I just crawled and moved out to El Paso, Texas for a while. Got into radio out there and was kind of, I went out there for a reason, you know, bad reason. It wasn't really good, and had some trouble in Los Angeles and left out there and got back into the DJ scene when I was out there and got into radio in Mexico and did 2 stations in Mexico, did a jazz station in El Paso, and then someone at some club discovered, someone liked my laugh, and it turned out to be the program director for Power 102 in El Paso. And he gave me a night job running the mix show and doing nights, overnights, and running the board and stuff like that. And
about what time was this?
This is 1993, wow. 93, 94.
So in 93, just so I can back up, you're already doing radio, and someone hears you laugh
next to a booth next to me. And the guy's like, I like your laugh.
They got a restaurant?
And I'm like, it was a club called Monopoly in El Paso.
Okay.
And yeah, it was like a restaurant though too at the same time because a booth with tables and stuff. And I just happened to be sitting there, and true story, he taps me and says, hey, you know, I like your laugh and I think it sounds good on radio. Why don't you give me a call? And I'm like, all right. And he gives me his card as John the Candyman Candelaria. I'm like, bro, I listen to you every freaking morning. This is a trip.
Yeah.
So I ended up that Monday, I go to his office and he hires me on the spot, and I start learning all the ups and downs of radio. And now I'm dealing with, you know, I'm talking to Richard Humpty Vision in Los Angeles, Tony B. I'm doing parties in El Paso. I'm flying them to El Paso for raves. I'm getting a lot of tapes from them about power tools and what they're doing. I'm doing my own show like them and Power 102. And it just, things started evolving so quick that when I was ready to leave El Paso, my goal was to get on Power 106. And when I got back to LA, that wasn't the case. It was a lot of work to get on Power 106 because we have 22 million people in LA at the time. Every DJ, a lot of DJs.
But even with what you've built out in El Paso, that wasn't
enough.
Because even when I started in radio, I went to radio school, and they straight up said, like, you need to leave this market and dominate another market and then come back. But I mean,
that didn't work.
But that's crazy because that's still a big market.
It's still a big market. So I came to LA thinking, no,
I got this.
I'm gonna be on Power no matter what it takes. And there's a lot of guys like me at that time. And I knew Richard. I know Richard Humpty Vision since we were in 5th grade, and a lot of people mistakenly think that he got me on Power. It's like, no, that wasn't he doesn't even know I was trying to get on Power. Every day I lived in East LA at my wife's mom's house when we moved back to El Paso in the projects. We lived there for like 6 months. Every day I walked to 7-Eleven, which was like a few blocks up, and faxed my resume. My resume was probably like 3 paragraphs long. And I walk every day, fax that thing, fax that thing, fax that thing. I don't know who I was faxing to. It was just a number of Power 106 fax machine. One day, 6 months later, one day I get a phone call at my mother-in-law's house saying, hey, this is so-and-so. John Boyle would like to meet you, blah, blah. I'm like, what? This really worked?
Wow.
So
I thought you were going to call stop faxing us, please.
Yeah, right.
You have the wrong number.
Bro, I show up, and right away she's like, oh, he's ready. I mean, this is not your typical, like, oh, yeah, come at 10 a.m., blah, blah, blah. No, this is like, yo, come about 6:30 o'clock at night. It was raining. I lived in East LA. This is in Burbank. I'm like, all right, I got to do it. So I show up to Power 106. They buzz me in. I go out into his office. Happens to be the director of promotions, John Boyle. And we sit down for like 2 hours just talking. And he's telling me everything about El Paso because he already spoke to the PD there. And I'm telling him what I want to do. And he's like, at the end of the conversation, he basically just said, all right, you're in. And I get up, shake his hand, and walk out the door, and right before I walk out and close the door, he says, hey, man, your foot's in. It's up to you where you want to go. I got you in, but you're going to have to work in this department first before you do anything else. So, again, long story short, things went on progressively in promotions. I ended up DJing for Big Boy at Dorsey High School because DJ Ray didn't show up, and Big Boy liked what I did. He told the PD, Michelle Mercer and Rick Cummings at the time, what I did for him, and a week later I'm on the mixer schedule. I'm a mixer now for Power. I mean, it was just like boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
And from there is just, again, like the world, you can just take on the world from there. I became a power mixer. I started my own record label. I started doing mix compilations, traveling the world. I mean, it was just it's just weird. It's still weird to me.
And all just from listening to your neighbor's tracks.
Playing outside with his brother in front of our house. We lived right across the street from each other, and all you hear is just at the time, I didn't know the name of the song, but it was Living on Video, just pounding so loud. We lived in a cul-de-sac, so it was just loud.
Right.
It was a graduation party, so it was super loud. But that's kind of like my story. I mean, there's a lot to it, obviously, but that's where I had kind of ended up at Power 106. And at that time, I knew that in the future, I already knew going to these clubs at that time at Power 106, I was 24, 25 years old. I would look around at clubs and think, I want to do a story about this in the future. I already knew. I dead on knew that I'm going to do something in the future about this whole scene. As time went on, nobody was doing, people were doing little mini docs on their scene or themselves or nothing crazy. So it's just, in time, I just thought, one of these days, I'm going to do a whole story on our era. My era in the 80s and my era in the 90s, and get all my friends together and let's just make this happen.
Now, with this film, how long have you been making movies, directing? Where did that kind of come from? Because all I've been hearing is a lot more music background, the radio stuff, and like where do you jump from that background to to this?
At the same time, I was actually into movies big time because I was always into locations. I was one of those guys like in the early 90s. Now these days, you can go on Instagram or YouTube. Everyone's doing all these movie location stuff, even video stuff. I was doing that way before anybody was doing that in the 90s because my dad would take me to work with him in the summertime, and one of the times that I went with him, we went to Crocker Bank, which is now Wells Fargo, the big tower in downtown. We were up there like on the 44th floor working, and I'm just sitting there looking out the window in downtown LA thinking, wow, we're pretty high up. And I could see down below Grand Avenue and the little holes where you could see lower Grand Avenue. And I remember seeing all these explosions going on. At the end of the night, I asked the security guard at the front when we're leaving, I was like, what was going on here? And the guy was like, oh, they're filming some weird robot movie here. Nothing that's ever going to probably make it. Ends up being Terminator.
Nice.
And that caught the bug. I caught the bug right there because Terminator was like, years later when it came out, I was like, wow, I was there. I was right there in that scene, and people were like, you're crazy, dude. How old were you? I was like, I was young, but I was there. And I try to explain the whole story to them like I'm explaining to you guys, and they're like, okay, now we get it. Now we know why you were there.
Damn. So
from there, man, it just started going with movie locations. I started a website, became pretty monstrous. And now all I would do was take the screenshot and the real location and match them up, and this is how it looks in real life, and people just kind of dug that, and I started getting into that, and some lady from the Location Manager Guild of America, LMGA, she found me somehow we found each other out. I can't remember how it went down, but she invited me to this place in downtown LA at this hotel where they knocked down, they already tore it down, they built it back up again, I forgot the name of the hotel. And there was a meeting there for all these location managers, and she was just walking me around like, hey, you know what this guy does? You know what this guy does? And all these people were just coming up to me and trying to get explanation of what I was doing. And I told them what I did and how I did it and where I would go, and they would be like, well, you can just walk into those neighborhoods and you're not scared? Like, no, I just go and take a picture.
Neighborhoods.
Yeah, I said I grew up in the neighborhood, and they're like, and as soon as I said that, honestly, as soon as I said that, it caught one guy's attention, and he's like, we need people like you to come in and walk in and not be feared of something because you saw something on the news or a movie, or we need people to go knocking on doors and get permission to film. So that's how they gave me a position, not a position, but they called me the apprentice. So little by little, all these directors would call me, hey man, we need to do this. We need a scene like this and like this, but we need it like over here and over there, and we don't want to go there. I'm like, oh, I'll go and take pictures and do this. And it just started growing and growing and growing, and I got noticed for that. And I started doing location scouting and managing, and then I moved into a company called Exclusive Media. And from there, I was involved in the movie End of Watch. Okay. And that's where I started learning, we were the company that produced it. So I learned the ins and outs of I don't know if you ever guys thought watch a movie and think, who greenlights these movies? Like, who's the guy that sits there at the table and says, okay, we'll do it?
Yeah.
I always thought that.
Same.
Like, who's the guy that says yes to Batman or Back to the Future, blah, 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 blah. So I was in a room where, like, End of Watch, Rush, quite a few movies that we did. I was in a room for a lot of those meetings. You know, Snitch with The Rock. And just to see the way it starts and ends, I was so intrigued that I just started learning the whole back end of how to make a film. Not camera-wise, not lens-wise, because I already knew all that. That was easy because I would do a lot of production PA work for studios. And that was really it. I mean, once I got that from Exclusive Media and learning the back end of it for like 4 or 5 years from them, then I moved on to Fox Animation. I started learning animation. I started learning this and that. And so I got the best of both worlds now, animation and movies. Now I just need people to believe in me and fund me or invest in me so I can create my own vision.
Right.
And that's how from 1984 to 2016 is where I met my, not met, but I knew a friend of mine from the 90s called, his name is Zeke. And he lives up in Ojai. And he came at me and said, hey, bro, you know, whatever you need, I'll back you. Just start creating shit. And I started creating 80s stuff, 80s this, 80s that, 80s this, 90s that. Whether it was Hard House or whatever it was just in our era. Whatever happened in our era, he was giving me the money to survive, to live, to walk away from a job in production and say, here, I'm going to provide money for you every month. Just make some dope shit. So I've been doing that since 2016. And now finally we're hitting, like, we've done this, we've done that, we've done this. I did a film called Tice, a short film. And that was the one that got me like 5 awards from different festivals. One of the big ones was Wes Craven. Right before he passed,
wow,
he actually chose us personally on Instagram. I still have the video. And he calls out, you know, our name, Tice, you know. And we show up to Catalina Island for the festival, and he's there, and we're on the red carpet with him. And, you know, we even went to his house. You know, me and my other partners that did this movie, Tice. We went to his house and we hung out with him and smoked out and whatever. You know, we did all that shit. It was crazy, man. I mean, it was so, and that right there, I felt like I should do another short film or this and that, but I just, for some reason, I said, no, now that I got this kind of little thing going on, I should just turn to music now. Now's the time to just do the music. Why do a short film again? I could do that later. Let me start working on my music craft and getting all these people involved slowly.
Your first, well, I guess, I mean, the video stuff was your first love, so your secondary love, which would have been the music, right?
Yeah. Music was a stepping stone, I think. You know, I mean, mixing was great all those years, like from the 80s and stuff. And I did it with passion, and I loved it for the passion of it. But later, when at Power 106, it became a job, which was a fun job. I mean, I ain't hating on it, but it just became like a stepping stone job where, like, now I wanted to get into film. And in between all that, what I'm telling you guys, that story, how I got into the first production company I worked for, Warner Brothers, was when I was at Power 106. I would go, if I had nothing to do at Power, I'd go right up the street to Warner Brother Records and hang out with Greg Lee, which was an A&R for Warner Brother Records. I would sit in his office for 2 to 3 hours, and this is no pay, no nothing. I'm just going there out of my own will. Just
to hang out.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a big dude in the record business. I'll sit in his office, open up all his packages, separate trash, separate the good stuff, whatever. Cassette CDs, shirts, hats, jackets, anything and everything they sent this guy. Boom, I hear like this loud thump. Whoa, boom, you hear it again. Like, dude, what is that? He's like, oh, they're just filming back there at Warner Brothers. It happens every day. I'm like, again, it just like clicked.
Boom.
Like, whoa.
It's no big deal.
And like by the third, fourth time, I say, hey man, I really want to get into film. Like my powers, I already had my peak. I'm ready to come down on this and move forward, and I want to do film. I mean, can you get me on the lot somehow? And I didn't talk to him for some time, and he reaches out one day, I went to his office, and he says, hey man, I was gonna reach out to you, and I got you to speak to someone on the lot if you want to go, if you're still interested. And this is like 3-4 months later. And her name is Verna Simpson. I remember that.
Wow, okay.
Verna Simpson. She was HR, and I went to her, and I met with her. And she said, and she hired me right away. But she's like, what you're going to do is pull weeds. you're gonna pull weeds. You're gonna drive around in a golf cart and pull weeds, and you're gonna clean the back lot, and you're gonna do all kinds of stuff that you don't want to do. But this is how it's gonna be until you just move up and move up. So that's how I started, and then I left that and went into a corporate job for a while, and kind of bounced back and forth on that stuff. Production, corporate.
It's crazy how that world is just so upside down. Even like the radio world.
Oh yeah.
Growing up, I mean, going to the radio school stuff, they let you know that radio's cutthroat. One day you got a program director, next day something got sold.
Exactly.
And guess what? Your shit don't exist.
You're
you
gone.
are gone. Everyone you knew, done.
Yeah.
Next day.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? How is that even fucking possible? Like, what the hell? Like,
You're gone, bro. That's
what?
it.
But I love how like humble you are with all these things, because like you went into radio and you were the DJ, you're in the background and doing all these things. You know, you say you peaked, and hey, here's this other job, but we're gonna put you at the very fucking bottom. You're gonna be doing housekeeping or whatever, and you're like, fuck it, I'll do it.
You're right. You're absolutely. I tell that story, bro, just like how you say it. I was at this level, traveling the world as a DJ. I mean, I was getting high in fucking Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And then flying back home 2 days later. And then fly back out to Miami 2 days later. Then fly back home. And I was all over the world, and I was married with kids and everything. And I was a good boy. You know, I never did anything wrong. I take my PlayStation with me and hook up my PlayStation MLB. To this day, I'm still on a big MLB thing. And
Not
MLB
NBA Jam?
Not NBA Jam, man. I used to get my ass kicked by Artie the One Man Party, so I quit that. Artie really pissed me off, man. I used to break my controllers. Ooh,
that's anger.
My wife would come out, guys, I got to go to work. I know you guys don't work, but we did. Really.
Right.
You know, she had a real job and we had a radio job.
Right.
But yeah, man, that's kind of like my story there about radio and DJing and stuff. And then the film, the club scene, the documentaries that I'm doing, like the Hard House one. The Hard House one came out. We did that in 2020. We released that May in 2020. Took like a year to do, and that was all mainly about the Hard House guys here in Los Angeles. More about how it's created, how we did it, why we did it. I mean, I gave the love all to Chicago because that's where it came from. We just mimicked what they did, you know. But our sound was just more aggressive. LA was more aggressive than Chicago. Chicago was prettier, kind of like that's what Tony B says. Chicago was prettier. And they were prettier, better tracks, but we didn't give a shit, man. Yeah, give me the most obnoxious sound and the hardest kick, and I'll compress it even more and release it. And it still did well. People.
What year did Chicago start off?
I would say the Hard House Chicago was like 90. From what I know, 94, because Pants Are Sagging was like 94, 95. And that was kind of like the real Hard House coming out of Chicago, and that's from there on, it's just fucking wildfire.
With guests like you have an abundance of energy. It's positive, flowing. Not only that, your memory is so precise and on point. Do you
I smoke a lot of weed?
That's incredible.
I smoke a lot of weed, bro. 15 years old.
Yeah, if it wasn't for this recording, I would forget everything. But I get to relive the magic on the .com and just remember everything.
Yeah.
But see, Zach, you already tripped me up. I forgot where I was going with this. God damn you.
I just appreciate everything, bro, that I've been doing. That's why it's just it's one of those things. Like my wife, she supported me through all this. You know, I walked away from a good job and everything, and wanted to. I mean, I was getting paid from a private investor, but that's not going to last forever.
Right.
You got to start
building,
start doing something, or else they'd be like, "Hey, bro, I can't. What am I going to give you money for? What are you doing with it?"
Yeah.
You know, so.
And just like anything else, a stepping stone for the next project. And then that's a stepping stone for the next project. And you just keep leveling up.
Nice.
Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But shout out to all those who are our rocks and support systems.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. I mean, I thank God that, you know, and not that I, like, and you mentioned it earlier, Zach, that I don't look at myself that way, like humble or anything like that. I'm been myself since day one. I don't try to be something I'm not.
Right.
I don't try to be this or that. If I have a better record, I have a better video, I have a better camera.
Yeah.
I don't try to be anything. We work together. That's all I want to do is create positive memories and go with the flow.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything like that. I don't want to get crazy. I don't want to have an ego or anything. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Right.
My purpose to do all these videos, Welcome to the Club especially, we put a lot of time and sweat into that. Me, Corinne, and my partner Juan, we all did we did a lot for that, and we wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to do it right because this was like, for me, it's my junior film. For them, it's their sophomore.
Right.
So I wanted to get it really as close as possible. Although there's plenty more stories, obviously, that can be told. That's why I'm doing it in parts. because I want to go back to Hollywood later and do another story on them.
Right.
But that's basically what I want to do, is just keep everybody together, have fun with it, have create our memories, leave our memories behind when we're long gone, because all this is going to be out in the internet world.
Yeah, legacy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I was real excited to have you in. I mean, me and Mario talk about it. He was real pumped about it. But for me, I was born in '95.
Right.
So I wasn't around for any of this. But with my musical taste, everything goes back.
Right.
Everything goes back. I mean, I was a metalhead, but my parents, they introduced me to Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder,
nice.
Al Green,
The real music.
Yeah.
Real music.
Yeah.
So I grew up with all of that stuff, and then with my sister, she was she's 11 years older than me, so I got a lot of her stuff too.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm tail end of everything.
Yeah.
Hand me down shit. So I got to see it. I got to see it, but always secondhand.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is I stay up watching these documentaries back in the day on VH1, and then now it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I love seeing how things came to be, where they came from, why they came from that.
And this is the whole purpose of doing these videos.
Exactly.
It's not for the people that lived it. We lived it. Why am I going to bother dealing? I mean, not disrespectfully, I'm saying this. They don't need to see it.
Yeah, they were there.
But Zack, you do.
Yeah.
You heard it. You've heard stories. I've heard that through comments of Instagram. I've heard through messages or conversations with people that I just met that were like, bro, I mean, I just missed it. I wish I was part of that.
Yeah.
So we did this film for you guys.
Right.
To see like what went on, how it went on. The music that happened, the riots that were going on, the gangs that were getting into to the club scene.
Right.
That had to all of a sudden like went home and said, okay, well I'm gonna dress into. I want to look like a gangster still, but I want to look prettier now for the girls. So let me be a rebel, or something.
Yeah.
Let me do something differently. So that's how that's just. Bro, I can sit here for hours and just keep rambling about so much shit.
Well, that's the reason why you're here, though.
Yeah, but that's what we do it for, bro. We do it for everyone to see that what went on in the 90s was real. It's not just a story that you hear from other people.
Right.
Shit went down in the 90s. Hollywood was dark. We were kids roaming the streets of Hollywood, back streets. What the fuck are you doing back then?
Right.
What are we doing?
Trouble.
Yeah. Wandering. I mean, I'm working for Power 106 for promotions. We end up at the Palace, but then once I'm done whatever I'm doing there, I take off, man. Walk Hollywood. I want to know the streets of Hollywood. I don't want to drive. I want to know the streets.
Yeah.
So I walk around.
It's not glamorous like everybody
it's not.
thinks it is. So like, don't come to California.
It's
don't
not.
go to Definitely don't come to California. Like I have cousins from like out of state or up north. Like, oh, I want to go to Hollywood. No, you don't.
Even more so now, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, now at least back then you still had all the historical stuff.
Yeah.
There were still buildings you can see. You can see over buildings. Now everything's been blocked by tall freaking apartments or whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah.
So it's a different time now for sure. But that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do these Welcome to the Club ones.
Yeah.
I felt like people like Zack, like yourself, Zack, want to see this. They want to know the fashion, the music, the whatever was happening at that time.
Right.
Which was just something that never going to come back again because it's just so big. And
it might, because I mean that's what everything kind of just rotates.
not the same. It won't come back the same.
No,
but just the way we did things. The way even like if Corinne was here, she would tell you like the stuff that she bought for her dancers. Like she just go out to Home Depot and buy any kind of shit. Aluminum. Let's get that aluminum. Make outfits out of it.
Yeah.
Let's buy that tape over there and make outfits out of it.
Make it work.
I'll cover my boobs with that tape over there or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it's just the stuff like that we were all kids and just learning and trying to just come up with shit.
Yeah.
Like the Fabulous Wonder Twins. We say it in the movie. They were dressing like Gaga before Gaga. I mean, that's just. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that came out of the '90s that people take, and they don't admit they got it from the '90s.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of actors that were at Arena that shall remain nameless because they're big actors now. And,
but they grabbed it from somewhere they saw locally here on the underground, not publicized, and then all of a sudden you want to capitalize on it. I mean, it's Elvis all over again, right? Shit.
Mm-hmm. Like one of the funny things is that like my experience is kind of the same as Zack. I'm a teenager of the 90s.
Right.
And I totally got into the house scene when I was 14, 15 years old, 95, 96. And the funny thing is we used to, we started out with a small group of my friends and we would have like help out our local church and do a whole like party thing, and then at the end of the night, like the church bought us like a whole system with like techniques and speakers and everything. Ooh. And then at the end of the night, we would take the whole system, and then we would do like the carnivals for the church, and then at the end of the night we would take everything into the hall, and then we would start like our own promoting parties with like house music, and we were doing all of the like
that's the way you do it,
and all of the like we would even throw in some Cypress Hill sometimes in there. But that's how we started. But my story goes back to the same like you with the house parties. My brother is totally from late 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
And same thing. It's like I remember being like, 9, 10 years old, and he's throwing these house parties in our backyard with like, the whole rebel scene, because that was the whole thing of that time. And totally, I'm like just listening to you guys talk. It's like I'm sitting back with my brother and his friends.
Very cool. That's the way I like to storytell. I want to make you feel like you're there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I go back to us taking a couple years to do this film, Welcome to the Club, because again, we wanted to tell it right and storytell it right and keep you engaged. We were talking about that earlier with Sam and Haze. Like, what's the thing? We're talking about it with you, right? Keep people engaged. Like, how do you do that? And we had to come up with a system that I think worked, and it did work, that we kept everyone engaged to the end of the film. Because it's like, it's not action, obviously, like an action movie, but it's nonstop action. You can't say, oh wait, I can't miss this part.
So how many church party crews did you have in the movie?
I had none.
All of them.
Hey, that's my story.
You know what's funny, Liz? I was actually talking to him earlier, and that's how I kind of started. It was through church. It was through someone came in and they started talking about like co-ops and starting a business, and so the dude's like, "Oh, you can do this kind of business, this kind of business, this kind of business," and we're all like, "We don't want to do any of that garbage." Like, we had a DJ in the fucking group, and the dude was just like, "How about we just throw parties?" And then like, and the carnivals would come up, and we started with the church carnivals.
That's
and then,
crazy.
And that's how it all started.
Is that where everybody starts, though?
Well,
not you, Zack.
No. I did, though, because I started doing sound for the church plays and all the that's where I started. I was behind the scenes, but I was the only one who could sing, so they put me on the stage, and then I had to go back to go upstairs to go run the mains and everything. So I was
wow.
Apparently, church puts everyone to work for their Lord and Savior.
No, it's just they're poor and cheap. They want the kids to do everything.
Yeah, that too.
Well, I mean, we actually got good speakers and good, a good DJ system out of it. So I don't know about how cheap they were, but definitely, I mean, we even charged the cover fee to get into our little parties that we would have.
There you go.
Liz did it right.
We were like doing promotion before it was like a thing for us, and 14, 15 years old.
We've been talking so much about this movie, and we have the trailer. You can first of all tell us where can we go see it, because this movie is out now.
It's out now on Vimeo.com/Welcome to the Club Part 1.
And out of curiosity, how many parts are you foreseeing in this? Because I mean, I don't know. You can do the 90s, you can do the 80s, you can do the 2000s, you can do genres. I mean, you can go anywhere, or let this be a just ongoing series of your collection of work.
It's just picking up finding the right areas. Like the next part 2 is going to be downtown LA. And there's a lot of clubs in the 90s back then there.
And when we were talking earlier, I heard some DJ buddies of mine pop up on here. So it sounds like you're going to have a lot of LA bass no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be great.
All right. And Sam, I mean, Sam's been a big helper on Welcome to the Club as well. He's the executive producer, and promoting on the Instagram page has helped us tremendously. I mean, it's just big to have a page like that, because it's dedicated. It just goes hand in hand.
Right.
Perfectly. It just goes perfect.
So you made sure that, like, hey, fool, that didn't go down like that. Like, let me get this shit right now. Hold on.
And we're gonna do an '80s one too. House parties in the '80s.
Yeah.
And those are gonna have parts.
One thing I did learn today, though, I thought house parties were just house parties. Like, we're just gonna have a party at the house, and I didn't realize it was because of you couldn't get into nightclubs.
No, it was. I mean, for that purpose, for a lot of us in East LA, we couldn't get into the clubs because of our age, obviously. So we said, all right, well, we're going to make a club in our backyard. And we take we find the biggest yards that our friends had in certain areas and throw throw a house party back there.
I could see that though, because that's what we did playing shows. My first show was at my house.
Yeah.
I'll get like the local bands, with whoever was in the 10-mile radius, and all the kids from the several different high schools would show up and tear up the backyard and go home.
Yeah.
Well, no one got hurt.
I mean, no one got hurt. I mean, we were little entrepreneurs, man. I mean, one of my first parties that I threw in El Sereno, house party, was for my, matter of fact, she ended up being my wife, but now she's my ex-wife. But it was a party for her birthday in December of 1985. I mean, charging $3 at the door, but geez, I think I made like for myself that night at 15 years old, $600.
Yeah.
And I just kept on
going.
going.
It was like $1 trillion.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Did you go buy a Rolls Royce after that?
I didn't even have a car, nothing. I got driven there by my parents. My own party. My mom's dropping me off. But, is this stuff like that you learn? A lot of us learned that at a young age, that we took it with us as we got older and older to do our own stuff. And I think a lot of us that did that kind of stuff in the 80s, like what I did, DJing and promoting and throwing our own parties, you learn that as you grow up and you know what you want to do. You kind of have already the sense of that kind of, establishing what you want to do with that kind of knowledge already in you without even learning it from school.
Uh-oh. Damn. We're getting phone calls coming in, guys. I've been trying to play this trailer. It's not.
$5
it's
bucks
just not
says
happening.
$5 says it's college for Biggs.
Okay. Caller, you're on Pigs.
What's up, Mario? It's Milo.
Oh, what's up, Milo? Hey!
Wow.
You're right,
How's it
Zack.
going, you guys?
It is going. This is for Biggs.
Uh-oh. Go ahead, Biggs.
What's up, Milo?
First things first, I've never met Mike before. I never met him. Throughout my days doing the music thing and all that, his name was always spoken about. It's a great, nothing but great things always was spoken about him. And I didn't even know these stories he was telling today. And that's pretty impressive, man.
Thank you.
Pretty
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, I just a lot of people want my story. I think you guys are the first ones that have it here.
Oh shit!
Hit the button. Hit the button.
Hold on, Zack. I heard exclusive.
Yes, sir.
One of my best friends is already the one at that party. I love that dude.
Oh yeah.
And he talks about you like you're great and all that kind of stuff, which is awesome. I can see that and listen to your stories and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Artie and I we've been through the trenches together. I was just telling him a story about when we used to play NBA Jam. I used to get mad because Artie would beat my ass all the time at 3 a.m, and my wife would come out of the bedroom like, "What are you guys doing? Go home already, and take Mike with you." But no, Artie's a great person. Artie's a great friend, man. He's one of my best friends. I mean, he's played Santa Claus for my kids all the years, like back in the whole '90s. I was his personal DJ when he was, Movela Colita Artie, and we traveled together. And yeah, he's such a great person, man.
And Big.
Yes, sir.
You know those songs that I use in those mixes for you?
Yes, sir.
I get them from that dude right next to you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people get music from me, man.
He knows everything. He's got everything.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
well, a big shout out to you, brother Milo.
Hey, it sounds like you owe this guy money. What's up?
No, he's just a good dude, man. They're both good people. Like I said, never met Mike before. Biggs, he runs a 90 house party. He's always generous he's always telling me to go to his events. I just always have things going on. He's doing it for the people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not for the wrong reasons, because I know I have other, I follow other accounts too. They're just all about making money.
Yep.
And, you can tell that, and that's not cool.
Yeah. No one on my team. I don't like that. I don't like people like that on my team. I want positive people on my team, and let's just get to work and put out some good memories.
Hell yeah.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And let's get high too.
Vibes on vibes.
We about to. I will say though, Milo, I didn't know that you guys weren't friends.
No, we're Instagram friends.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
shit.
Instagram friends, yeah.
That's really rad because Milo actually did go out of his way to make sure, like, hey, he reached out to me. High C had told me about this project because our buddy High C. Shout out to High C. I know
Shout out
he's
to High
listening.
C.
Hello, High C.
What's up, High C, brother?
That's my brother.
He's in the chat.
For many,
he's in the chat room,
many
right?
years. And he's in this. And
He's a good guy, man.
I love High C, man. We go way back, and obviously he does the 80s, the 90s, the rock and Español. He's all over the place.
And also, he was one of the first followers to follow the Page house parties in the 90s.
Early
back in 2017. Yeah. He was the first one to send me pictures to post of him in the 90s when he was from the party crew. And so big shout out to High C, man. Nothing but love and respect for him, too.
You know what? For people who don't know, this motherfucker has his hand on the pulse for many years. He's been always there, even in the dark side, Los Darks. I mean, telling me what bands are coming up. Like, hey, man, this motherfucker's going to blow up. And sure enough, that shit does happen. And he does all the right things for the right reasons.
Yeah,
he does
really it for the right reasons, exactly.
And I don't think this guy will get enough credit in the world. This dude has an amazing family, has an amazing work ethic, and there needs to be more people like him and less trash out there.
Yeah.
So,
of course, bro.
Shout out to High C, man, for doing it all up. Loves his fucking house, loves his 90s, loves everything, man. So just like Milo. Milo's a good dude. I don't know Milo all that well. And I lie. I know Milo really well. I will say that Milo doesn't come out as much. I was like him too, but he's also a busy dude. He's always producing and he's moving forward. And
that's the way to do it, man.
And he's having those shows under his pseudonym.
Oh, that's right. I forget his pseudonym because we actually did have an interview with Milo once, and we were kind of talking about all that stuff. And Milo, I mean, no shyness to all his accolades either, being on XM, Sony, and all this other stuff, man.
He's in a video game.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, he's in a video game?
He did the soundtrack for, was it Fallout?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Nice.
Yeah, see,
I thought you meant like he was in the video game. Like, holy shit, like that too? Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and you know, people like even like Milo, they don't even talk about their stuff and at all.
Yeah,
you know,
bro.
like
I mean, we don't need it. If we do good shit, bro, we do good shit. I mean, if people like it and they love it, they love it. I'm not going to go out there and be like, oh, my shit is dope.
Right.
Oh, I like it. Oh, because it's dope. Because I did it. No, I'm not like that. I just do it just to do it.
One thing that Artie taught me was he goes, you know, you should never talk about yourself. Because I used to because I didn't know that much, you know. I was just like, I got this coming out, blah, blah. And he goes, dude, you should never talk about yourself.
Yeah, just do it.
I'm like, all right, I get that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then listening to all his friends, all his friends were praising him.
Yeah.
None of my friends were doing that for me. So I'm like, oh, I'm doing it wrong.
Nah, you're just hanging around the wrong people.
Yeah, that's all it was. No, but hey, guys, I got to get going. I'm at my Vivida Loca at Fullerton. I got to get back on the turntable.
Right on, brother.
I wanted to call because I had to call you guys.
Right on, man.
All right.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you so much, dude. Thank you.
Sir.
All right, guys.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right, guys. I would say let's take a break, but I mean, I really want to get to this trailer. You guys want to check this trailer out? Really quick?
Let's get this quick taste.
All right, Liz, I'm gonna try to share my screen so you can check it out. But guys, welcome to the club. Trailer Part 1. Get it on Venmo right now. But let me tantalize you really quick.
I was at that club last night. 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 I was at that club last night.
We're going to talk about the underground parties called raves. They are sweeping throughout Southern California, a phenomenon attracting thousands of young people. Many times they are illegal. They're illegally run, and drug use is often common.
The 50s brought us rock and roll, of course. In the 70s, it was something called disco. And now there's a new trend called the beat. And it's sweeping the teenage music front.
The 90s, our culture was changing.
The 1990s, it meant discovery.
It looks like a lot of very, very young individuals.
The 90s for me were freedom, whatever we felt like doing that day or night.
Welcome to the club.
The
difference between the drug use between the raves and the clubs was when you're having the ecstasy, the acid, the shrooms. It was saturated. Like, it's one thing to go out and do what you're going to do and dance and have a good time.
Like those kids on ecstasy, next to the speaker, feeling those vibrations.
We would use drugs to stay awake.
You don't want more because of the drug. You want more because it just opened the floodgates of that fun world. Sensory overload.
Like there was something bigger for us out there. It was the beginning to something even bigger.
The culture and the scene in the mid-90s was just amazing. I mean, you had all walks of life. Brown, black, white, Asian, you name it. Everybody was just out to have a good time. I mean, the clubs were just packed. Music was just incredible.
The biggest thing about our night was what we would wear. We would go shopping either on Melrose. We would go to the thrift shop.
Or I would just go buy leather and plastic and vinyl and paint whatever I could, or, reflector stuff. I just remember like the fashion just being as wild as it can possibly get.
Welcome to the club.
Killing me.
I haven't watched that since it got released. So good. No, I'm just kidding.
I just saw people in the trailer that I haven't seen in years.
See?
Right there.
I told you, if you watch this, you're gonna cry. Because the ending of this film made me cry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think my partner's the same way. I think when we did that ending, we really finalized it. And we all watched it, and we're like, wow, this really we all were quiet for a while. We're like, wow, this is like when it hits you, when something like that hits you, you like. Okay, this is how it's gonna stay because this is it.
This is what I want it to be.
Yeah. It gives me the chills still sometimes.
Yeah, just seeing some of those pictures, I'm like, yo, I was actually
You were there.
I was there at that party.
Yeah, I'm sure you were there, bro.
Yeah,
I'm sure you were there. That's why you're gonna be in part 2.
Oh, big exclusive.
Gotta have Haze in part 2, man.
Let me ask you. Because I came from more of like a metal background.
Right. Me too, bro. Motley Crue was my group.
Okay.
Until the DJ. I mean, I still listen to Motley, but Motley Crue's my group, man.
With everything that was in there, the fashion and just the attitude and how everything looked, how much crossed over from the new metal and industrial scene with that style, with the clothing and the music and everything.
What do you mean? Say it again.
With industrial metal, and then you got new metal all coming out around the 90s.
Right.
How much did that cross over?
Oh, cross over into that. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. Honestly, that where we went, it was just more banging house music.
Right.
There was a little bit of deep house at the Florentine Gardens because it was a little deeper there at nighttime. Arena was more just 135 beats per minute.
Right.
All night.
But you didn't see the same kids at the same shows?
You would not see the same kids at the same shows.
No.
They didn't cross over.
Yeah, no? Not that much. No. I mean, maybe here and there at other clubs might have, but no.
Because I could see some similar style, at least with the fashion of it.
Later in 2000, the 2000s with DJ Vice and all those guys and AM, yes, it did cross over into those clubs because now they were doing the open format, so they can have that kind of vibe in there because it didn't matter. Well, they had that vibe, and then after that, here comes fucking Al Cool J or whoever.
Right.
So it was a little that at that time. So that later after the 90s or late 90s and 2000s, yes, that was there was crossovers like that everywhere. Dragonfly, Garden of Eden.
Okay.
Yes, but not in our era. Not the mid 90s was just strictly.
You were in your scene, and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
3-4 clubs in Hollywood that we just walked around in or drove to, and that was really it, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really it. Good question, though. Yeah, you had me thinking. I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, reword that again? Yeah, I don't know where we're going with that either.
But no, I see what you're saying, though.
But I think I can see where Zack is coming from because it the whole industrial scene of the same type of bass beats into the music that house had and deep house had, and then the fashion with kind of the bondage look.
Correct. Yeah, like the Excalibur dancers.
Ties back to the industrial and all of that from the 90s. And I think that's where Zack is making the connection. But I could totally see that.
I think you know what? Honestly, now that you say that, Liz, I think maybe the early 90s was like that with the rave scene.
Yeah.
that's kind of where it crossed over, and then it finally crossed over to more techno hardcore.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it was a prequel to what we had, and then later in the 2000s it came back again a different way.
Right.
But it came back with open format. Yeah.
Because like I said, I wasn't there, but seeing videos like that and whatnot, but also within film, something that makes me think of is The Matrix.
Right.
I think it was the second one, Reloaded. They go into the club and they have to give up their weapons, but they still go in with the weapons, and everyone is in like bondage, and
like
stuff
Blade.
like that. Yeah.
Like Blade.
Yeah.
Like Blade, right?
Exactly.
That's the dopest scene I've in any club movie.
Yeah.
Or club scene.
To this day.
To this day, yeah. I've never seen a club scene like that.
And when that track fucking drops in that motherfucker,
Bro, we got that track for Welcome to the Club. It's in there.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, the first break of the club scene we come out with the pump panel, and then at the end we come. Yeah, the owner of that song was overseas. He actually was kind enough to give us a lot of his tracks.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do we have a guest next week?
Sure. Yes.
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 No?
Random question right now.
We could get a bar or something, have a viewing party.
Who?
A viewing party.
Oh, a viewing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Why not?
Oh, sure, yeah. I didn't know where you were going with that, but
viewing
party.
about it.
Yeah, what kind of view? Out of nowhere.
I know.
Have everybody come through. Why not?
I think you guys watch it, you enjoy it, man. I think it's
No, I can already tell you, it's on my this week. I finally cleared up my schedule where I got a little bit of I need to be home for a whole entire week. So
I'll send you the code again. We'll try it again, all right?
Fuck yeah! Even though I'll fucking buy that motherfucker, but my goal is to fucking watch it this week because
support the homies.
Yeah, straight up, dude. I mean, I lived it from afar. Being at some of these things, not so much into the hardcore scene, but around it, the house party stuff, growing up in the late 90s, kind of getting into the club scenes by the early 2000s. But then at that point, it's the alternative era. This is the beginning of the indie stuff. So things started changing.
It's changing quick too.
Yeah. So LA started becoming LA, but then whatever the fuck it is now. So, but at that time, it was this whole different movement and scene, and
absolutely
just like now it's way different. Now this is dark post-punk scene that is just a wave of new bands, and all of a sudden popularity and all because of the pandemic and Spotify. People had enough time to stay home. Like, what the fuck I'm gonna do all day?
Yeah.
Well, listen to music, and Spotify just blew open some fucking doors for a lot of people here, and holy shit, has it been just...
And we live in the second market in the country. The biggest second market in the country besides New York is first. So we have a lot of moving parts in both cities.
Yeah.
That just move.
New York store number one over LA?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Boo.
We're number one market. We're number two.
Bullshit. Yeah. Who's number three?
I think number three is, I want to say San Francisco, but I think it's Miami.
Well, fuck both of them, because we're still number two and shit.
When I was in radio, I knew all that stuff, but yeah.
Logistics. So now that we know there's a part 2 coming out, and Haze is going to be on it, I mean... what do you think that's going to be? You're telling us this story now, and obviously we're going to watch the movie. What do we should be expecting for part 2?
I think part 2 is going to be, we like how we came out with part 1, how we structured it. We want to keep that same structure for all of them. But part 2 will be out of downtown LA, and I think the biggest thing is going to be talking about Glam Slam, with Prince owned the club during the early 90s, getting into that story.
It was at the building here in LA.
Yeah, in the corner.
Woo, the 333 Boylston.
Yes, Boylston.
I ran my club Fun City out of there for about a year.
There you go. You know it.
Yeah, I ran out of 2 different rooms.
We're going to have to interview you.
Yeah.
Part
There
2,
you go.
baby.
Another exclusive.
Yeah, man, that was some wild time. I through one of the promoters or bookers that I was dealing with from Los Globos, he got me with the owner and got me locked in. I got the gold room for a little bit, and then I swapped over to the other side. And
that's awesome, bro.
And then I heard Prince owned it. Holy shit,
bro! That dude, you would be sitting like this, you and I talking, having a beer, and he'd be just
walking
right by. And I tell people stories like that all the time. Like, no, you didn't. Yeah, you just be there.
The basement was like an actual hotel, almost converted multiple rooms.
Crazy, right?
And like, oh shit, like Prince fucked in all these rooms and does a weird shit.
Easily.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that
like,
place has so many hidden rooms and doors, bro.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's a little spooky, not gonna lie. It is a little spooky. And like when you stand outside on the smoking patio overlooking LA.
Yes.
It's the most fucking beautiful thing because you're.
Yes.
I'm used to being on the opposite side of the freeway looking in. Now you're like.
Someone sent me a picture a few days ago. Some random person emailed me a picture she took from the inside looking to downtown at night. So I was like, wow.
I know I probably have a trillion of those. I will find them.
Please.
I will send them to you.
Oh,
I
my
gotta
God.
find them. Yeah, we ran a year there, and it was this 80s new wave rock en español nights
awesome.
that I did, and we always had live bands, and it was something else in there.
Oh, bro, it's amazing in there. I mean, people only could, like, again, goes back to the stories, like, they've heard of it, but never been in there. It's one of those places that was amazing to walk into.
Not only that, just obviously after Prince owned it, so whoever owned it after that, I forget the gentleman's name off the top of my head. It was I forget.
Was
now.
it the Navy guy that started Tattoo?
No.
No.
So many people owned it after that.
Oh shit! No, it was fuck. Whatever. I can't remember your name. It doesn't matter. You probably know you're listening.
Ricky Martin shot his video in there. La Vida Loca.
I was gonna say a lot of filming and shit.
Yes.
I know they filmed like a bunch of Power Ranger stuff on the outside, like film stuff. A lot of fucking
90210 was filmed inside there.
Dude,
The
so
restaurant
many
part.
things, so many things, man. No, that building has some magic, and it sucks that no one owns it or it's on for sale.
Right
or?
now, I think it's called Live. I think.
No, it was 333 Live.
Oh, that's what it was.
Oh, right.
Gone. Oh, okay, it's empty then.
That
bro.
was
it's
that
gotta
was
be empty.
No,
then.
yeah, that was the
It's
owner
empty.
that I knew.
Okay,
And
yeah. So it's got to be empty by now. Still.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised the studios next door haven't bought it. Right? LA
they
Center
should've.
Studios. They should have.
They should.
They bought everything else up.
I mean, just
But
to have real estate. I mean, I'm pretty sure that motherfucker was expensive too.
Oh, bro. Imagine, Ricky, we're talking about one club. That one, and part 2 is supposed to be that, Fantasia, Variety Arts Center, the Casa, Stock Exchange, the Continental.
Damn, all the fucking places.
Oh, Alexandria Hotel.
Hey, Stock Exchange is still going on, right?
Yeah, it's still going on.
Fuck, that's a
yeah,
long
bro.
time.
But so we're gonna talk about all those clubs. Same thing as the first one. It's gonna be about those clubs. So we're gonna find several people, with interesting stories to talk about those clubs.
So as you're pulling these stories and your resources, are you finding yourself that is most of your information and everything you remember pretty on point, or are you hearing hey man, this is the way it really went, or has some of your envisionments or stories have to change because of outside perspectives?
Some people, yes. Well, actually, my partners, like Corinne, some things that I would put together, and then she'd be like, no, it was this way. This is the way it happened. So she would always correct me in a lot of stuff because they were the dancers, Excalibur dancers, so they knew a lot. And so she would correct me on a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was between us. No, I don't think we ever got anyone from outside. Again, that's why it took us so long, because we wanted to get it right. And if we did have to mention something, we will call someone and say, we call 3-4 people.
Check reference.
Yes. We get 3-4 people saying, yeah, okay, we got it right. So
I don't know if I caught it. How long were you working on this project for?
Almost 2 years. A year of interviews, cancellations here and there, and just different times, different things. I was doing other stuff too.
That's not too bad.
No, it really isn't.
Bad. I was working for production companies too at the same time,
Right.
at the beginning of it, and then I had to step away from that.
Yeah.
It was either keep working production, or dedicate myself to this project. You can't do both. It's impossible. I mean, being married and being married with kids with dogs now.
Yeah, man.
I like to be with my dogs on the couch, so
that's a lot of plates to be spinning and make sure nothing starts wobbling.
Exactly.
When you went into this project, where did you even get the idea of where to fucking even start?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I mean, that's.
Well, he had this brewing since it happened.
No, true. But I mean,
but to start it up, to get it going.
Where okay, my first person's gonna be this. My first scene's gonna be this. There's, dude, it's such a fucking mind blowing of a fucking explosion of
It is.
You can go anywhere and just dive into that one little thing, and then it'd be its own fucking movie.
Yeah. I mean, this is about 19. This is 95, 96, 97. Really, kind of just
3
that's really
years.
It.
Yeah,
that's really it. But it was a lot to put together.
Right.
But it was to your question and answer is having 2 other partners. When you have 3 people like that consistently working and thinking of stuff, it helps.
Right.
Gotcha.
Doing it by yourself, like I did the Hard House one by myself. It could have came out a lot better, I think, if I would have had other heads in there. But I did it by myself because I know the genre, I knew the people, I knew all that. But there's always different ideas from other people, and that's one thing that's kind of like the mistake that I took. Like I should have brought in someone for that. But moving forward, I won't do that again.
Now that the movie's out, we live in this digital world. We're talking about the 90s.
Yeah.
Any way we can get this in maybe a theater here in LA? Maybe we can get some fucking promoters back it up. Let's bring our friends out. Let's get a party going. I don't know.
I mean, right now
I said
we're
this and you shut it down.
Wait, what?
Viewing party, bro. I said this shit.
Oh, but you didn't say like how I said it. So,
so it's my idea.
Yeah. Hey, I'm talking about like an actual like movie theater, like a release, like an event, not just like, hey, let's invite everyone to fucking Zack's house and fucking for popcorn and shit.
Yeah. pretty good sized club. You can do that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
or
it's possible.
IMAX.
It is possible.
The Ace Theater, or fucking have a rooftop party right after WAD.
Hell yeah.
Have Biggs
It's a
up
good
there
idea.
with fucking with
Let's do it.
house party in the 90s.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, woo,
Party
points I get it fucking
and
right.
bullshit.
I think part two would be. I think it'd be good for part two because we could probably go to downtown LA in the parking lot with the big jumbo screen.
There you go.
That would be good,
Damn.
right?
And have some live DJs.
Have some live DJs
from
and
that
stuff.
era.
High C,
Bringing
up
it
and down,
back.
motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
DJ
No, for
Haze.
sure.
Let me live it.
That'd be fun.
Let me live it up.
It'll be Zach's first ever true like 90s house party.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I think part two is going to be interesting, man. I think it's going to be good. Another club I forgot to mention was Shark Club, Grand Avenue. Remember that one?
I don't think I ever went to
Myron's
that.
Ballroom. It's called Myron's, and then Shark Club, and then Grand Avenue, and then Purple Shield had their
I
event
remember,
there.
Oh, Grand Avenue. Same spot?
Great, yeah.
Okay, then yes.
Yeah.
When it was Grand Avenue.
Yeah, when it was Grand
yeah,
Avenue.
yeah.
So it's this one's going to be a little task, but I think again with my partners, I think we'll get it done right.
Nice. Let me. Oh, go ahead.
I'll say, so when you were doing this, I'm sure it's a little sad because I'm sad who I've been traveling for all these shows, rock shows, punk shows, whatever in between nightclubs, to see all these nightclubs and all these venues go away.
Right.
And you went through almost everything, and I don't think there's hardly anything left other than the Fonda, maybe, if that's even a thing. I mean, Bordner's in Hollywood.
Bordner's in Hollywood.
The Avalon. Everything else has been gone. The World, even the House of Blues out there.
House of Blues is gone. I mean, Florentine's still there because they made it a historical landmark. But
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The Knitting Factory's making a comeback.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. Okay, that was a nice big venue with I think 2 rooms and in Hollywood that kind of like just went away. Safari Sam's is gone.
Was the airliner a thing back then?
I don't know.
No.
There was a club where Jimmy Kimmel has a show. I used to DJ in there.
Okay.
In the 80s, it was a club.
That was the.
It was Details.
It's actually a
Club
Masonic
Details.
temple, but in your time, that's where they used to do Water the Bush.
Yes. Yes.
The Red Zone.
The res, yeah, yep. I mean, I tell people that all the time, like, oh, I DJ where Jimmy Kimmel is. What? How? When? Like, oh, a long time ago.
Yeah.
80s, when it was nothing. When you were supposed to
time
be in
ago.
Hollywood.
Right.
At 14 years old.
Right.
That's wild.
So tell us again, where should we be going for this movie? Where can we follow you for any new projects? Because it sounds like you got a lot of things going on.
There's a lot. I have a lot of things going on, man. A lot. But the movie could be at vimeo.com/Welcome to the Club Part 1. You can follow me at Instagram, Mike Flores, or Mike_Flores on Instagram, or media_circus at Instagram as well.
And Mr. Biggs, once again, where can we follow you in all your projects?
On house parties in the 90s on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. We're actually celebrating our 5th anniversary.
Talk about it.
Saturday, November the 19th at Sage in Whittier.
Hey.
And that's where Mike Flores is going to get on the turntables.
Oh,
shit.
22 years. 22 years later.
22 years later, so he's going to get on there.
Yeah.
And we would like to formally invite you guys.
Oh, hell
yeah.
I can walk there from
Now
my
I'm gonna
house,
get
bro.
And it's going to be exciting. It's 5 years in the making, man. I put in hours and
Time.
and
A lot of time.
But I do it as like Mike does it. We do it for the culture, to keep the culture alive. Nothing else. We want people to reminisce because we can never get that era back.
Right.
But we can sure reminisce with people that lived it,
Yeah.
and for the future people that heard about it but never lived it, and just by being around the legends, and watching the page, you'll see pictures, you'll see video clips.
Hell yeah!
I love what I do, man, and I do it for the culture.
There we go.
The right way. Do it the right way.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And if you're even a promoter who's trying to do it for money, I mean, you're in the wrong fucking industry because there's ain't no real money in this fucking game.
No.
Like even
even
in the hip hop promoting side. Like,
It has to come from your heart, and it has to come naturally too, man. So a big shout out to the house parties in the 90s family, man. I love you all, and Mike Flores and DJ Haze. It's an honor to see you, man. Really an honor, man, because I listen to his music too. So
Haze is a legend, man.
I mean,
Haze is a legend.
One of the biggest records in the 90s.
He aight.
Tell us where, I mean, with what you've done, how did this friendship even begin? How do you guys even obviously from back then to now?
I mean, maybe Mike can tell that story better, how we first met.
God, man, I can't. I mean, it's just one of those, we just met because it was just, we were all in the same scene. It's just knowing each other. It wasn't about like, hey, who's that dude? Or it's just like, we're all here. Hey, what's up, bro? And then from there on, it's just continue.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one of our stories. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but I remember clearly. We were at the Casa. Miranda was performing there, but you and I were in the parking lot behind the Casa, and we were bro, I don't even know. I don't think I went back in. I got in my car and went home because I was just blitzed.
Out.
Yeah.
Done.
I went outside just to hang out, and we were in the back parking lot just smoking and drinking. I was like, bro, I'm out of here, man. I can't.
You're talking about in the 90s.
The 90s, yeah.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
okay.
Miranda
Wow.
was late 90s.
Is that in the movie?
No.
Part 2, you never know.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait for the uncut version.
Yeah, no, I've been DJing since
long time,
my whole life. I used to be called Hamburger Helper. I used to DJ at K-Day.
Okay.
Saturday night show, high energy mixers. So I just always been into DJs, and I love checking out other DJs, what they play, how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time the 90s came around, I'm also a B-boy from Air Force Crew. So, I stay in tune with the dancing. My whole thing is like, oh, what's that music? How do you guys dance to that? You guys want to battle? It's all about battling,
right.
And I'm a DJ, I'm a battler, I'm an MC and everything. So I just loved it all. And by the time the 90s came around, I already knew Richard from the scene, playing out in the scene and everything. And I got hooked up with this label called Sunshine. And long story short, Richard and AJ, they came up with the music for Jump. And someone said, let Haze listen to it. I listened to it. I dropped my flavor on it. And they were like, man, you guys should be like a group or whatever. So we kind of got the group together, and we started doing some shows, and it was a wrap. We came out with Jump Motherfucker.
#1 record, right, for a minute.
Yeah, it was like just killing the underground. So that was we dropped that in 91. However, the record was so hot, they're like, yo, you got to make a radio version. So that's when we came with the Jump Everybody mix. You know what I'm saying? And the rest is history, 92.
Wow. Went from Jump Motherfucker to Jump Everybody.
Bro, for the last...
It's radio, Zack.
For nearly 30 years, you can hear Haze's voice in NBA games.
Oh, yeah.
Right before they jump the ball. Are you ready? I mean, bro.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
That's who I'm sitting next to?
Yeah. Bro, I mean, that's just crazy, bro. I remember one time we were listening. I was at home. You were at home, obviously, and I was watching TV, and Haze calls me and says, bro, I think we're talking about the T-Mobile commercial.
Oh,
remember
right.
that?
Yeah.
And you put your voice in there for like 5/10 of a second, but we heard it.
Yeah.
And then they took down the commercial because they started, Haze and AJ started calling like, yo, 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 and they took down the commercial.
Oh,
That's right. Get your fucking
bro.
Get your money.
Fuck, dude.
And
we still didn't get paid off of that one, but
because the NBA took care of you guys, right?
Yeah,
At
NBA
first
did,
they didn't, but Walter made that happen,
yeah.
right?
People were calling like, yo, I heard your voice.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
We called Walter, and he's like, send me a clip or something. they looked into it and they made some kind of settlement or whatever. So
to this day, they still use it, bro. It's crazy.
Crazy. And it's so crazy that like anyone, if you're not paying attention, they are so fast to take advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Not get paid, look
Yeah.
the other way. I
Yeah.
mean, it seems like an ongoing thing that we keep talking about. We
Yeah.
talked about that a little bit in the beginning.
Right.
How, I mean, especially now in the 90s, how do you keep moving forward with the vision, with the goal, like especially dealing with like a bunch of like crazy shit like that?
Well, I just try to stay magical my whole life since the 80s, bro. I just always try to stay magical and have passion for, you know, the music. Like, I'm a member of the Universal Zulu Nation as well, so we just travel the whole world looking for the perfect beat. Who got the beats? You know what I'm saying? I want to go get some beats from you, get some beats from you. Because next time I see you, I'm going to be like, yo, remember that one record you played? Look at what I got. And you're going to be like, oh, that's nothing. I got these. And then we keep going higher and higher. So I always just love that. I always loved like going to a club and hearing the other DJ playing like, yo, that was dope how he did this or how he did that. I got to have something for that next time I see him, you know. It was very competitive, and I just love that whole thing.
Yeah.
Till the day that just keeps me in it, you know. It keeps me going every day. That's why I'll never stop being into music, you know what I'm saying?
It's crazy that the game doesn't change.
No, it doesn't.
Because like I can say the same thing. You know, like I said, coming out of like high school and playing with all those bands, I was a senior, and there was this band. These guys were like 2 years younger than me. I'll always say who it was. A band called Severator, thrash band out of Santa Fe High School. Ray De Leon, that dude could fucking rip on the guitar. He, like I said, he was 2 years younger than me. They already put out an album, and he was writing shit that was heavier and faster than me. And I was like, I got to do that. I got to write something that's better. And it's just like riff after riff. It's just like I said, heavier and faster. But then the next time I see them, they put out another song. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't keep up with this dude. It's fucking wild.
Yeah. Especially these days, you got to just move.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing it, the next guy's gonna do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I want to do these films. I was like, I'm surprised someone hasn't come out with something what we've been doing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, no one's really done this history yet.
Yeah.
You know, maybe at some point they will, but
I think it's important that you guys are doing it because, like, if you like you said, if you weren't doing it, it would be like a documentarian or a fan, which would
you have to
would
live
be
it to tell it.
That would be a good perspective. But the fact that you guys were the ones in it, you guys were in the shit, you guys were doing it, you know, especially coming out, you know, being 14 years old and being in all these big clubs and you know, that's different.
Getting to know everyone before they were famous. You know,
Yeah.
people like Egyptian Lover, Dr. Dre, Arabian Prince, LA Dream Team. You know, all the guys from South Central. I mean, knowing those guys back then as a kid, it was great because it was like they're my mentors.
Right.
Tony G. I mean, that guy, just listening to him every weekend in my home, recording a tape just so I could mimic his scratches. I mean, to this day, he's still a mentor. Tony G's like the mentor of LA. I mean, if there's anything different, I mean, prove me wrong, but I think Tony G is the guy of LA first.
For me, he is.
Yeah, I mean that guy was doing shit when I was 12 years old, cutting it up at our school.
Wow.
I mean,
that was one of my dreams right there, to be on the turntables and Tony come over and want to let me scratch on your set.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was like, and what does that happen where another guy who does what you do comes over and stands next to you like, let me get some.
Yeah.
And you have to let him get some too.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Go ahead.
Get it.
You know?
I mean, we're surrounded. I mean, I think us growing up in this era, right? I mean, I think we're surrounded by great, talented people that became our mentors. We wanted to do what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, for me, as far as for me, I mean, I looked up to everyone, no matter who it was. But I always just pay. The thing with me is I always pay attention. I always pay attention. I don't just, if I'm standing if I'm holding up the wall at a club, it's because my brain is working.
Yeah.
Taking it all in.
Yeah, I'm not just because I'm just there. I'm just, you know,
observing. Yeah. Lights, sound.
What's next?
What's looking?
Yeah.
What's the trend?
Exactly.
What are people doing? What drugs are they on?
Yeah.
Where are the exits? Is the chef outside?
Right.
Who didn't get in? Who got kicked out? Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
bro. So,
I think we lost that though. You know,
Oh, for sure.
You know that you with everything that you're saying, you had a mentor, you had someone to pass things down to you.
Yeah.
People got stingy. You
Yeah.
know, it's
It's
like
not like that
everyone.
no more.
Yeah,
No.
everyone got scared that if I give this to someone else, they're gonna take my thing.
Right.
You know, but that's not the thing. If you're good at it, you're doing your thing. You're gonna be the OG. You're gonna be the one that everyone looks up to and will give credit to.
Right.
And you will create something of a legacy for yourself. You know, but if you're holding all this information, you're not passing anything on. You're gonna be seen as that.
Absolutely, bro. My '90s family, dance music, house music, hip hop, R&B, whatever it is, whatever it may be. But my whole '90s family, we're a different crop.
Yeah.
Completely. There's no batch of us ever going to exist again. There just won't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be it, you can be close to it, but we're the type of people that just love to give.
Yeah.
You know, you got to pay your bills. You got to get paid something.
Right.
We're not asking for millions of dollars. We just
Right.
we want to live, survive, have a great time, love my wife, love my dogs, and move on. And that's it. Make great, fun films.
Yeah.
Nothing hard about that.
Right.
You know, but then you got the other flip side, the darker side of it. People just hate on you for no apparent reason because you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing it. Mike Flores is doing it, so fuck that dude. That's just the way they think.
He might be
what the
better than
hell?
us.
Like, what did I do to you?
Yeah,
you
that
know,
makes no
Like,
sense to me.
I've never been like anything other than who I am to anybody.
Yeah.
So when I get weird comments on Instagram or something, I'm like, wow, that's weird. Why would he say that?
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool. Whatever.
Fuck them trolls.
I just move on, bro. I move on. Like, okay, you must be unhappy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Block. Bye. I don't have time for that no more, man. You know, I'm
Really
53
don't.
years old.
Really don't.
I'm 53, and I just, you know, like Haze, Sam, my partners, and everyone surrounding me. It's all positive vibes. Every producer on the film on Media Circus is who I handpicked because I want to feel comfortable and trust, and I could trust them.
Hell yeah.
Work with hard-working people that care
Yeah.
about what they do.
Exactly.
You know, speaking of trolls, we're missing a piggy here today.
Yeah, we are missing a pig.
Evil Noriega. He's actually in the chat right now.
I see him. He's
Where's
supposed to be
Liz?
working.
Liz is quiet. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. We keep forgetting about Liz. She's just sitting there.
Hi, Liz.
I'm an observer.
I know she's been fangirling out the whole entire time.
Yeah.
She wanted to be here. She didn't want to sneeze on anybody.
No.
Asking about Baja Sundays.
That's what I was. That's where I was trying
They
to
were
get
trying to go with that.
Yeah. What is Baja Sundays?
I mean, if Evo Noriega is asking about Baja Sundays in the '90s, I was on Power 106 at that time, so we would go down there a lot for John Pena. Those guys would be throwing those parties down there. But I only went a few times and I'll tell you a quick story on one of the times that it was me, Big Boy, DJ Ray, Sean Juan, and a couple other heads. We had just gotten to Rosarito Beach. We had just put our bags in the room. We had just done everything and got there comfortable, got there on time. And you know, when shit like that happens, you know something's gonna go wrong because it's just too perfect. We're walking, everyone's walking on Rosarito, both sides, whatever, and all of a sudden we're walking into this big pack and we're looking and we're getting closer. There's these girls that live out there, these cholas that live in Rosarito that were just walking around slicing everyone's face, girls' faces with blades.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. And we turned around, got our shit from the room, got in the car, and came back to LA. We're like, that's it. Hey, we ain't staying down there. They were literally walking around cutting girls' faces.
Fuck.
Yeah, bro. That's one of the Baja Sundays, Noriega.
I hope that was a story you're looking for. Jeez.
But I mean, overall, besides that
Christ.
incident, there was we've had some good Baja Sundays down there with John Pena and the crew and all that stuff, and it was always good down there. Besides that incident, it was always
That's wild.
It was always good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always good.
Wasn't there just recently something like that was happening, or someone was getting stabbed for no reason out in Vegas, right? I think it was. Like, Vegas
some random
Boulevard's,
dude.
Some random dude was stabbing people just walking around.
It's crazy times, bro. Crazy times.
I mean, hasn't it always been crazy?
Yeah.
Not like now.
Like growing up and being in these house parties, there were no cell phones. There was no
nothing.
You know, in order to find the fucking party, you needed to call a number. You needed to get a flyer. You needed to know somebody who knew somebody that was underground. Like, what kind of shit was popping off back then? You think that today is now versus fucking what shit was going on back then?
I never had an incident back then like that.
Okay.
I mean, if there was blows, it was blows.
Right.
That was it. Especially in the 80s. Like, if you didn't, for some reason, you know what, you think about it, like, why didn't we get along? It's like, I don't know either. All right. Because a lot of the guys that I fought, we're friends now. as men and fathers and stuff, we became friends later. But it's just back then, it was like once you finish, if whoever didn't matter who won or lost, you just shake hands, and it's over. Go back to disco dancing. That was it. Go back in the circle.
But then the 90s came.
And the 90s came, and that kind of...
It had its own structure.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we were speaking earlier, we were a product of our own environment. So a lot of the house parties were done in the hood.
Yeah.
So a lot of the cats that weren't in the hood, from a gang in the hood, would throw these parties, but the hood was involved.
Yeah.
And if you didn't respect the fact that that was their hood, then there would be problems. So, we became a product of our own environment and violence with violence. And so, but it was structured. There was discipline somewhat.
Yeah.
And then,
well, there was a lot of party crews involved in that time.
Yeah,
too,
well,
right?
the party
just
crews,
cliques and things like that.
the party crews came in, because when the house parties originally, when they started, there was no party crews. Rebels came in a little bit afterwards, but the greasers were the ones who actually started with the Levi's and the white shirts, and they would put the Marlboro cigarettes on the side, slick their hair back. So they were the first ones to really come out before the Rebels. Rebels came in a little bit later, and they exploded when they started doing the Rebel bouts back in 97, 98, 99.
What is Rebels? Are like were they a crew or?
No, well, they had their own little pockets, and they would mostly wear Harley boots. The Levi's, the Harley, Harley Davidson, the 501s, and
chains
and the chains on the side, and basically had the girls too, just the style that they were in, the way they would dance too, it was just off the hook. But because of that, because they were getting pushed around by gangs, the party crews had enough, so they were pushing back. And then that's when the street politics started getting in, but that's a whole different story. But that's what ended a lot of the house parties. The house party started, that ended. The party crews ended the house parties. Then the party scene was ended because of the violence, and that's how the club scene started. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't want to go to house parties anymore because the party crews and the gangs were messing it up.
Yeah.
And then after that, they were like, we found a better way to do it. Let's go to the clubs where you can dress a certain way, and you can't go in unless you wear a nice attire.
Right.
There was literally gunshots in the 90s at house parties. Like, you'd be in there just like, whoa.
So it was a whole different, it's a whole different environment, but people still managed to have a good time. And like I said, you got to give credit to the ravers and the groovers, man, because violence was around them and all they cared about was the music. They never got into any type of problems. All they went to is to have fun and go home. And some of them did fall victims to the violence, but because that was a normal thing for us in the 90s.
That's what it was, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I went to El Paso was I was deep in the gang stuff and, in downtown LA, and it was just, I was getting deeper and deeper until finally my mom was like, that's it. I mean, the day she got me out of jail, or, I was up north for a while, and she got me out, and the moment I got in the car, we went straight to the airport, never saw LA again for 4 years. And that's in that time period, I did come back once to pick up my turntables and my records because I was getting back into LA, to DJing and stuff. But yeah, it kind of slipped. I was a big house party DJ in East LA and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden I just dipped right back into my neighborhood and got a little trouble and got in trouble again, 3 striker, and like, oh shit, here I go. But luckily things were behind me, and when I got out, my mom was right there at the gate waiting for me and drove me straight to LAX, and that was it. Yeah, I mean, I was still kind of a little crazy in El Paso because I met some dudes from LA out there, from El Sereno. So nothing, it was kind of like, oh shit, bro, let's tear it up here. We're 8 of us from LA. We can take on the whole city.
So you even started going to the fucking all that shit, traveling out away from here, even cooler than what it is now.
Right.
Fucked all that up, by the way. Fuck all that up.
But then, just DJing got me back coming back and getting my stuff and doing it all over again in El Paso just got me to where I'm at today. If my mom wasn't there, then things, I don't know what would have happened.
Man, shout out to the ones we love and the ones that love us and support us.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, with all that violence, what do you guys think of the clubs and things now? Like,
I haven't been to a club, man.
Really?
I haven't been to a club in
years,
bro. So I wouldn't even know. What scares me coming out of the house, because I don't come out of the house a lot. I have my studios at home. I made my whole property in my house like my wonderland. Like, I don't need to go anywhere. Just order pizza and donuts, and I'm good.
Got it.
Yeah, and some Cokes. you know, I'm good, man.
Oh, Coke?
No, that's like a
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. As for me, since I started doing events, bringing back the 90s, there hasn't been, everybody's been behaving. We're at that age that we're grown people. We survived the 90s, and now all we want to do is listen to some good music.
Yeah.
Have a good time, and bring this culture to the new generation so they can carry it over to the next generation.
Document our history.
And document it, because when we do events, man, people from everywhere come. And they come from San Diego, New Mexico, because when the party scene died, a lot of people had to leave because it was just too violent. So a lot of people got into the Marines, the Army, became officers, but they want to feel like they're in the 90s again. So when we throw events like that, they come back. You know, even if it's for one day, for one weekend.
Yeah.
And so that's why I intend to do more events and continue this page for as long as they want me to.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and as you obviously performer, I mean, out there doing your thing, DJing, still producing. I mean, what do you think of today versus yesterday?
Battling.
I know. Are you still going up to people like, "Fuck you, let's battle"?
I still am when it's that environment. You know what I'm saying? However, like I always wonder if the crowd today, if they have that same feeling that I had, like when I was first loving it. Like I don't really see that from them. Like when I do see someone like that, they come and they start talking to me like, "Oh man, thank you for playing this record," or whatever. However, I see like they're kind of more into their own thing. It's like a lower frequency type vibe they seem to have, or when I'm playing is the old stuff to them. You know what I'm saying? But I don't give a damn unless, like, sometimes you gotta just slap them. You know, sometimes you just gotta slap them. I always love to slap crowds. You know, I was always the one who like, oh, I could play all the same stuff that we all play, but you guys don't have this one. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'm gonna put a tape on it, so when you come to look and try to see what I'm playing,
can't see it.
Can't see it.
Wow.
You know, I'm from that era, so I still have that in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I'm a DJ, if I see you out there dancing, when I get done dancing, I'm gonna be right there out there on the floor with you. Especially if my boy's DJing and he's playing the joints. Like I'm a dancer, I'm gonna be out there. You know.
That's what's
so
up.
yeah, I don't know. It's like it really depends on what kind of clubs we're talking. You know, like I'm not into like the new rap stuff at all. Like, notice I said rap. I'm not talking about hip hop. I'm not talking about breaking, popping, locking. No, at those clubs I could play some house right now. Everyone will keep on going. Or at the rap club, they would be like, "Yo, what are you doing, bro?"
That's that little Nas X.
Yeah, play some little big midget, or you know what I'm saying? All the littles or the Yeezy, Weezy, Wazzies.
Do you feel like these fools are out here? They just have a really good beat, and they just say whatever they want on it.
Yeah,
and like that's what the music is now.
I mean,
yeah.
I let's say I felt like that. Now they're getting better. Like at first I was like, oh, they're just whack.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, what's happening here? Is it like when I was coming up, some of the music that we were listening to, we were like, get out of here. Like, we have this now, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not really, I just look at it like there's way better MCs than what you guys are doing. You see what I'm saying? So I'd rather stick with that. And then every once in a while, you know, you got that one record that they play 90 times on the radio. It's going to, every once in a while, they get you with one or two. And as a DJ, if you're going to play those type of clubs, you got to play them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to play like any kind of top 40 club, they're going to want to hear Lil Wayne or, Nicki Minaj or whatever. I'll play a couple of those. However, what time am I playing though? Yeah. Like if I'm playing early, I'm the opener. I'll bang out a lot of the stuff that I like to listen to.
All right, let me ask you a question. You're in the car. What is your go-to? And what is your guilty pleasure?
I would say salsa.
Oh.
For me,
Go-to?
My go-to is like some electro funk, Planet Rock, Planet Rock, house. I like all kind of music, bro. I love all kinds of music. So it just depends. Like if I want to have a little session, I might, like Saturday morning, I'm salsa. Get my little salsa going. I start getting into some funk, some breaks. You know what I'm saying? I like to peak myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I might play little sets, but for the most part, I'm like playing different stuff. I might play, the Mexican by,
Jelly Bean,
or whoever's done the Mexicans. There's so many versions of it, and then I might mix that in with, a freestyle record.
Wow,
It
bro.
just all depends on how I feel or
The
who
vibe,
I'm playing for.
Yeah.
But I really like salsa because I'm a dancer and it kind of gets my juices flowing and I kind of flow into there with, I try to put everything with a break beat or with an electro funk beat. I don't care. It could be Metallica. Does it fit with Planet Rock? If it fits with Planet Rock, I feel like I can do like a cool, crazy
Planet Rock
mix.
beats fits anything.
Yeah, and people are like, damn, that sounds dope. I'm like, really, it's not that dope because I try to put everything with Planet Rock. Yeah. Just see if it works. You know what I'm saying? If it works,
It usually does work too.
So
I don't listen to any radio. Nothing.
Nah.
I listen to podcasts. That's it.
Now you're listening to Pigs Radio.
I don't listen to radio, man. I can't listen. I don't listen to him in my car. I listen to Rob Lowe, his book or something, or his podcast, or 90210 podcast or something. I don't listen to music anymore.
Everything's changed. The way we even get our information.
Yeah.
We can streamline the things we want to streamline even more so than ever and really stick to our genre or our roads or whatever it is that we kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now that everything's changing, you're DJing. Are you still on records, or are you now jumped over to the S9 and Rev 7 Pioneers and all these controllers?
I refuse to get
many
stuck.
controllers, bro.
I always said I don't want to get stuck. I love the vinyl. I'd rather play with vinyl actually. However, I think it's cool. Remember when Napster and all that came out? I was like, yo, I'm finding records that I never had in MP3. You know what I'm saying? So when I hopped over to Serato and all that, I was like, damn, I'm not even sure how this works or whatever. However, now I just look at it like, it's all a tool. It's all a tool. It's how you use it. Like I can cut and scratch and do amazing stuff. Some people, they just do it by pushing buttons. I might go like, oh, yo, you're cheating or whatever. But or consequently, it still sounds dope.
Right.
To me, as long as it sounds dope, I don't care how you're doing it, I can still enjoy it and get behind it. Especially if you're good people too. I might be like, yo, how you do that? You know what I'm saying? Share the love. That's what I'm all about, bro.
I'm gonna put a piece of tape on my computer screen.
Right. They made a function now on the Serato where you can hide the title.
Stop it. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's called the DJ AM function or whatever.
DJ AM. Okay. So someone in his camp said we used to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Crazy, bro.
Old school. Holy fuck, man. To have you guys all here, obviously, this is a collection of what it was in the 90s, different aspects, different trains of thought to come together and put together something amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
It looks fucking great.
Thank you.
The trailer looks amazing. I can't wait to watch it this week and report back, Zack, next week. Whatever guest we're having. I forgot where you were going with that, but then I'll report to you next week to let you know what it is.
All right, I'll do my book report.
Yeah, you do your book report too. Are you going to be spending anywhere anytime soon that we can go catch you, hang out with you?
Bro, I spend so often. I spend at different stuff.
This week?
I can't even remember anything that's coming up right now.
Okay.
However, you could always check me out normally every Sunday at All Groove House Radio. We got the app and whatnot, and we spend the house there every Sunday. You can check me out there. I'm DJ Haze. I'm Googleable. So, you know what I'm saying?
Let's do that one more time a little bit slower so make sure I remember that. Zach, write it down. Write it down, Zach. What is this again?
DJ Haze.
There we go.
DJ Haze.
Double Z.
Haze.
Yes, sir.
And once again, where's that house?
House Parties in the 90s on Instagram. We are 80,000 strong on there, and we keep growing every day. And Saturday, November the 19th at Sage and Whittier, we're celebrating our 5th anniversary. Mike Flores will be on the vinyl. And you guys are invited. We'll put you up on the guest list, man. And,
appreciate that.
Come and hang out with the House Parties in the 90s family. Much love to all the everybody that's a part of it. And thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us. For welcome to the club, man. I saw it, and I had told them from beginning to end, you can't stop watching it. It's a good documentary.
It was all my idea. It was all my idea. I'm only saying that because Corinne and Juan in here, so it's all my idea. So if they don't hear this, it's all good. No, I'm just kidding.
I want to give a shout out though to Cindy. She's been in the chat all night, and
Cindy's a big supporter.
Yeah, Cindy's from House Parties in the 90s family too. So Cindy and her husband Rich.
Yeah, she's been promoting everything from the Vimeo to the 19th show. Hell yeah.
Yeah, good people, man. That's you got to surround yourself with people like that.
Yeah. Really good, hardworking people.
If you don't,
I just want to thank the House Parties in the 90s because you guys got me through like quarantine with all of the
thank you.
The online Instagram sets.
Yeah, the live sets,
that, you know, along with Pigs Radio and Mario sets as well during quarantine. Like it was just totally party in my living room every time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you following it. That means a lot to me. When I hear stuff like that, that's something that money can't buy. And so I appreciate you very much for that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Money can't buy respect.
That's right.
Really can. And talk about an evolution once a pandemic hit and the whole world stopped.
Yeah.
Talking about DJs taking like, oh, fuck, what else can we do?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, let's flip, let's go. At least until the algorithm started catching up and started fucking up everyone, and that's what ended up happening. And
you knew that was going to happen, though.
Yeah, eventually. And then obviously there was new platforms, and then things kind of changed. But to see how everything, once there is obstacles, and like how do we find the workaround to kind of get back on track?
Yeah.
And it's still amazing to kind of see that. And it's still amazing to see people been doing this stuff 30, 40 years. And by the way, man, you guys look fucking great for your fucking age. I'm not going to lie. And
I hope my wife heard that.
And I'm going to blame, and I'm going to say, dude, it has to be because of the love that you guys have for the passion what you guys do. Because nothing else can explain. Because you guys are in the nightlife. And I will tell you that people who don't work the nightlife, it fucking sucks. You got a day job and you work at night, it fucking sucks. It takes away from your family and you're putting hours on end.
Yeah.
I've been working off of 2 hours of sleep for the last 20 fucking plus years. It takes away.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Away.
Absolutely.
So, and also she's invited too. On the 19th, so
you
better go.
Well, Liz is part of the fucking pigs, so of course, absolutely.
All right.
At Sage,
I want to make sure.
At Sage, how many rooms are you doing? 2, 1?
We're doing both rooms. We have 11 DJs. All of them are from House Parties in the 90s. From DJ Maori, DJ Babe Rock, DJ Flavor.
DJ Sabor.
Yeah, DJ Sabor, Frankie C. Craig Herrera, Wang Chop. And then we have a performance by the beautiful Natalia.
Yes.
From Aqua Boogie. So if you were part of the 90s, then you know who she is. And she's going to be performing. And that's thanks to my brother over here, Mike Flores. And I can't wait to see Mike Flores after so many years get on that ones and twos. Oh, and we have an upcoming DJ Isaac G.
Yes.
Isaac G.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he's the future. He's the one who's going to carry the DJ movement from the 90s on forward. So you guys are going to...
He's a good kid.
He's a good kid, yeah. So.
I want to take this moment to announce the after party across the street at Winchell's. It is 24-hour.
I'm already there, brother. I'm already there.
Don't get me started on my chocolate bar, bro.
Hell yeah.
I eat two donuts every day.
That place is awesome. I did a
Winchell's?
few. I have not Winchell's. Fucking
Sage?
Sage.
Winchell's is good too, though.
Go out there for the little bagel burger thing that they have.
Yeah.
But Sage is a good, nice little open spot. Free parking everywhere. Guys, you need to come out. Can we buy pre-sale tickets anywhere?
Yeah. You go to Eventbrite, and it says House Parties in the 90s 5th anniversary. And I always put a price of $10 because I feel like that's a good price to sell a ticket and take it back to the 90s. Only $10, just online, Eventbrite. Yeah.
Guys, you don't even have to call a number to get an address or anything.
No map.
No map.
But that's cheap as fuck considering you're having 11 DJs and a performer.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not doing it to fill my pockets.
Right.
I'm doing it because I love what we stand for, especially with the Latino community, because we made this.
Yeah.
We were the 90s.
Yeah.
And we were, like I said, we were entrepreneurs before entrepreneurs was a thing.
Yeah.
You know, we just didn't know how to build it together.
Yeah.
And how to
Didn't know the
construct
structure.
it. Yeah, we didn't know the structure. And so that's what led to a lot of the demise of the 90s.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't be fair if I want to charge $30-$40, which I can, but that's not why I'm doing it for.
Right.
So I think $10 online, $15 at the door is perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's absolutely no reason not to be at this spot.
Yeah.
Right.
So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'll see you guys on November the 19th.
Here, guys. November 19th, Sage Club out in Whittier. Need to go check out the movie. And Mike, where do we follow you and the movie and all that information and all your other projects?
Oh my God. Let's see. The movie, Vimeo.com/Welcome to the Club Part 1. Instagram, Mike_Flores or Media_Circus. And The Future Holds Part 2, obviously, that we spoke about that earlier. I don't know what else more I can say about it. I mean, it's just going to be like part 1, probably even better because there's more clubs now attached to this, and some of the people that we're getting for this one is going to be pretty damn good too. Really good. We're gonna
Zack, I don't know if you heard, but I'm gonna be in part 2 now.
We got
it's gonna be that good.
Gotta get that
fucking good.
Gotta get that Gland Slam talk, man. That 333 Boylston talk.
333 Boylston.
You know what I'm saying?
All of a sudden, you're gonna be one thing. I'm gonna cut right into it. Knowing this shit, dude.
Yeah. You better take advantage of that 5 seconds, Mario.
Oh, you know I will.
So yeah, we'll go with part 2 downtown LA, and I think one of the things I want to do for sure, we're gonna hit the Valley as well, San Fernando Valley. But what I want to do is do a prequel. I want to go back to the rave scene. How the rave started in LA, breaking into the warehouses and all that stuff, the map points. Like really explain it in detail. Right. Not just pictures, just let's get people in there and talk about it.
You talk about the porn industry too, or not? We got the same warehouses, right? No?
In the Valley, yeah. In the Valley for sure.
Yeah, maybe in North Hollywood.
Yeah, North Hollywood, the Valley, yeah, for sure, bro. Not in East LA.
Not out here.
They're chopping cars in those.
Yeah.
We want to thank everyone for logging in, hanging out with the pigs, and our obviously new honorary pigs here
awesome,
at
man.
the Pigsniverse. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your mom. Your girlfriend already knows about us, but you guys can follow us at PigzRadio, PIGZ. That's with a hard Z. Don't forget, Zach, we do have a guest next week.
Okay.
I forget who it is. Oh, Moonchola. That's who's on next week. Moonchola. It's she's a tarot card reader Chola. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to tune in for that one.
Yo, get your cards read.
Yeah.
Get your cards read.
She was on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Will I go to the Pinta?
Sí.
That's how they read the cards.
She's like,
Win.
Liz, thank you so much for still being a part of the conversation all the way from the,
Liz,
from the
Liz,
internet.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, so don't forget Pigs Radio, and then
Thank you, guys.
we out.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Press this button right here.
And now, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye, honey.
Hey, yo, DJ, stop the music. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Initiating shutdown sequence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you, I'm out.
This show may cause birth defects and/or cancer. Void where prohibited in the Southern Red States. Official sponsor of the Special Olympics. Not really. 2% financing available for nothing. See your official Toyota dealer for recall as penalty for not buying American. This show may cause massive amounts of marijuana consumption. This show has been a joint venture of cockballs and ass. Free salad tossing available upon request. Visit robertreese.com. Sexual relations among cousins is not incest.
Thank you.
conclude this evening's entertainment.